Good afternoon, Ms. Anderson. Thank you for agreeing to meet with me today so that we can have our pre-conference, so that we can kind of get on the same page with what's going on in the classroom and how I could be of some assistance through this coaching cycle. So we're gonna go ahead and start with some pre-conference questions. Are you okay with everything?
Yes.
We're leading up to? Okay. So I wanted to know, what goals have you established for your instruction and student achievement this semester?
My goals this semester is to have students to be more engaged. I have the highly motivated kids, but I'm looking for ways to engage and reach all of the students. And hopefully that would increase their achievement.
Okay, and so how do you think that's progressing? Like, how are the students progressing with the goal that you put in place?
So far, so good. I'm looking for more ways to engage them as opposed to just using the same strategy over and over again. So we used one today in which they would read maybe a paragraph or two, and I would ask a question, and then it's, instead of you raising your hand and tell me the question, tell me the answer, teach it to your neighbor. And then so if I call on someone randomly, they would have to tell me who taught them and what they taught.
That sounds like a really good start with getting the students to be able to teach one another as if it were almost like peer tutoring, you know, in a way, so that they can have that time to talk. Okay. So, how are things going with the instructional practices you have instituted this semester? I think you kind of just touched on that one in question one with the progress. But what do you think are your next steps now? So now that we've started, you know, putting some new things in place for engagement, what do you think your next steps might be?
To expand it to where they're moving around more and more hands-on, trying to figure out more, a lot like PBL, project-based learning. I would like to know how, or have a better way to implement that in the time frame that I have to teach.
Okay, so with that being said, what do you think the major challenges that you are experiencing in the classroom are? Like, what would you say, you know, if you had to like kind of give your top challenges?
My top challenges, I would say the time that I have to teach it would be my top challenge, especially my second block, because it's broken up with lunch and specials. And my next challenge, I would say, is because I have so many kids trying to figure out how to reach an audience of 30 students with 30 different personality types.
I got you. So, what factors do you think surround these challenges? So, with time and with the large class size, factors that surround these challenges, what do you think they would be?
With such a large class size and a small time frame, organization, it has to really flow. We have to be able to move from point A to point B smoothly. It needs to be like a well-oiled machine. Otherwise, I'm losing instruction time with transition from one part of the lesson to the next part of the lesson. And also maintaining behavior so that I'm not interrupting my instruction time, constantly correcting behaviors. So those routines need to be put in place. So that's one thing.
All right, we're gonna move right along. So, what current strategies or techniques are working? Like, whatever you're doing right now in class, what's working?
using Dojo to randomly select students, that has cut down on a lot of the blurting out with the students, or one student will blurt out an answer, and if it's wrong, another student will chime in or say something, but sometimes very rudely. So if they know that Dojo is choosing, there's no blurting out, and if I'm going to another student, if I need another answer, Dojo is gonna choose that next student.
For you. Gotcha. So as far as engagement, the strategies that you're using to engage the students, what's working? Outside, okay, so Dojo, would that be a strategy for engagement, or would that be a strategy for management?
I think that's a strategy for both,
Okay,
because they don't know if they're going to be called on or not.
okay,
So, like today, they didn't know if they would be chosen or not, so they are actually reading and talking to the person next to them, just in case they are chosen. So they are a little bit more engaged.
okay. So, okay, so if I understand you correctly, when you were doing the engagement strategy, when they were reading and then having to teach a friend, and then the Dojo randomly calls someone from that engagement strategy when they're teaching. Okay, and then just other times, just using the classroom to randomly select people to answer questions so that everybody's kind of staying on top of, okay, who might be chosen. Okay, I got you. So where do you feel you're getting stuck with the engagement piece? Like,
Mr. Flowers, please call the front office. Mr. Flowers, please call the front office.
where do you feel you're getting stuck?
In my toolbox, there's only a small amount of engagement strategies that I've been using. So I've been recycling the same ones over and over. So I'm looking for some new strategies, and they're like, oh, okay, we haven't done this one before. As opposed to, when you get the same thing over and over, you sort of lose interest. So I'm trying to keep that interest with coming up with new engagement strategies. So that's where I'm stuck. Where do I go from here?
All right. Okay. Okay. What might you do differently to acquire the desired results? So if you're saying that the place that you're getting stuck in is the limited amount of resources or engagement strategies that you already know or have, what might you do differently to acquire some new ones?
I'm venturing out, talking to other teachers to see what they're doing in their classrooms. I think teachers are some of our biggest resources that is not used the most often. And also just doing a search, just trying to figure out new avenues to get new ideas and new strategies. Seeing what's working for others.
So, what would you think, or what do you think our focus together, you and I, should be during our collaboration time? So there will be some time for us to collaborate on how we can, build your tool belt, how we can make sure that some of the engagement strategies that we do find are comparable for what you need in your classroom. So what do you think our focus during the time we collaborate should be on?
How to get the most relevant information in these students in a timely manner. Focusing on what they are going to need to know, because it's very easy to steer left or steer right.
So specifically with engagement, where do you want us to spend our time? On how we actively engage the students, like where do you think we should spend time? Do you think we should spend time on researching together, possibly going to, on planning time, possibly going to see other classes? Like, what do you think we should, when we collaborate, what do you think we should spend some time on as far as engagement? Like, what the actual, thing that you want to see progress well in your classroom?
I would say, seeing what works with others, seeing it in action as opposed to sitting out doing the research is great to have it on paper, but let me see it. I'm a visual person. Let me see how it works in your classroom. Let me see what you're doing in your classroom. So I would say visiting other classrooms to see new strategies and see how that teacher is implementing it with their students. And then we can tweak it if we need to based on what I need to teach and even the age group.
So we're gonna need to set a peer goal so that we can make sure, in a way, a SMART goal, so that we can make sure that whatever we do is definitely specific, measurable, attainable, relatable, realistic, and time sensitive. So what could we create as a goal for ourselves so that we could say by May of 2020 we do what? Like, what do you think a goal that we could set for ourselves to have? How many new engagement strategies under our tool belt, or some that we have tried, either co-taught together, co-planned? Like, what do you think would be a measurable goal?
I would say by May 2020 to have at least tried 4 new strategies.
Okay, so we're gonna specifically try 4 new engagement strategies to do what? Are we hooking the students? Are we, do you think it'll be across a range of how you would do a lesson? So are we gonna find some hooks? Are we gonna find closure ones? Are we gonna find ones that will help with the direct instruction? Like specific, like what kind of specific engagement strategies are we looking for?
I would say to help with the direct instruction. I think I'm pretty good at hooking them. It's keeping them.
So almost like that sustained inquiry.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so when do you think would be a good time for me to come in to observe or model what's going on right now in the classroom, so that I have a good or a clear picture of where we can start when we co-plan? When you think would be a good time to come?
Right around both of our schedules. Either in the mornings or the block right before we go to special. So that would be the after lunch, after recess, once they're settled in. And then that's when they are tired and exhausted. It's at the end of the day. And that would be a great time to figure out how to hook them and keep them. Or even early in the morning when they come in tired.
Okay, so give me 2 time frames.
Early mornings, you want time?
Yeah, time, because I know you have 2 different blocks kind of going on.
So I would say morning, 8:30,
Okay.
and afternoon at 12:45.
For how long? So 8:30 to what would be a good amount of time?
I think 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
So 8:30
Okay.
to 9.
All right. And this is generally the time that you're teaching what subject?
March Madness is coming up. It's going to change a little bit.
Okay.
So hopefully I can put that social studies right at the beginning of it.
Okay. So
And
that
that-
you still get it in.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, if there's any opportunities that you're looking for me to model a strategy or 2, most definitely we can get that set up during a possible time where your class comes to my class, if you like to sit in, or I could also work with one of these times as well, so that we can both get a calendar day to, you know, talk to each other, converse, and to review the lesson, because at some point we want to move towards when you'll do the lesson and I will come to observe you, and with a look forward to after we've done some planning to see how we could get close to our goal, progressing for the remainder of the year.
Sounds good.
All right, any other questions or concerns moving forward?
None that I can think of. You're very thorough.
Thank you so much, Ms. Anderson. I
Of
appreciate
course,
your time.
anytime.
And I will most definitely be in touch.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.